Hey guys, it's week 10 and I'm Len, my dog Kamji. You've probably noticed that I am not using my art style right now. There's an issue with my art program right now and the style, so I'm going to try and figure that all out before I can get back to it, so you're going to have to look at my face for a little bit. So I missed the last 2 weeks, so that's why my dog's in the video as an apology, because he's adorable. Not very happy to be in the video though, so I'm going to let him leave. Here you go, Grumpy. Anyway, I missed one of the weeks because I'd had this scheduling issue where I got the topics wrong, and then I missed last week because my file got corrupted before I could upload the video. But I'm kind of glad that that happened because I got some development between last week and this week. So I'm just gonna redo my video from last week and kind of smush it together with this week's topic. So last week's topic was about family, and from the time of last week going on to this week, I had a conversation with my dad, and I said it in the coming out video, I think, that I would probably never come out to him as a trans. And I kind of did. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing, you know? Didn't mean to, but it happened. I had an email, and it had my preferred name on it, so there's not really much hiding that. Anyway, so we had a talk, and he just kind of took it. We never got into talking about non-binary identities, so I think he's under the misconception that I'm binary trans, but we'll work around that later. I talked to him later and asked about transitioning, and he seems open-ish to the idea, but we got some family issues going on right now that we got to take care of first, which is unfortunate for me. I wanted to start, like, I got really excited and I wanted to start, and I would really love to hurry up and start transitioning, but I'm willing to wait because I was gonna have to wait anyway before. So my advice to having to do with family is I'm lucky. I don't have the the most accepting family, but I'm lucky enough to have a family that isn't going to like deal harm to me or abuse me or kick me out or anything like that just because I'm trans and non-binary. So while there are great families out there that handle the situation a little better, it's also important to realize that there are a lot of families out there who aren't as accepting, who will kick you out depending on who they are, and these are just horrible, terrible parents and family, and we're taught, which is why I think it happens so often, that people think their parents are just going to accept them for who they are because they're parents, because we're taught from a young age that parents and family are supposed to give you unconditional love, but the thing is, most of the time, it is conditional. Sometimes you have really great families, and it is actually unconditional love, and they will love you no matter what. But then you have families, and they grew up in a cis-normative, heteronormative society, and they don't want to deal with things that they don't find normal. So you really got to be careful. You really got to get to know your family. I realize that for some of us, not coming out is akin to not living, but you've really got to consider your safety here, because safety is your #1 priority. You are not, especially if you are too young to go out on your own, or you can't afford to be out on your own, you really need to be careful not to get yourself kicked out, because that can be really, really hard on you if you don't have any support financially. There's also the issue of losing contact with your family or having to stay with your family, because in my experiences, coming out to family members is one of the hardest things to do in your social circles, because with friends and teachers and acquaintances and even distant family members, if they don't accept you and if they're really nasty and rotten, unless your whole community is like that, you can just cut them out and be done with them, and that's it. And that will be okay to do, because if they're treating you horribly just because of who you are, then they're trash and you can just throw them away and be done with it. But family that you're close to, family that you live with every single day and have to see every single day, is not something that you can just easily get away from. So it's also really important to just realize that you need to be careful with who you decide to come out to. So that's my thing with families. I feel like every time I say it, I feel like it's a little bit negative and probably pessimistic, but there have been way too many stories of rotten families who don't support their kids, and I think it's getting a lot better. I think a lot of families out there are getting more accepting of it. Just please, if you're thinking of coming out to your family, make sure you know who they are and where they stand on issues like that. That doesn't mean that you should be, like, necessarily automatically scared if they're a little transphobic, because my family is, like, every level of wrong. Like, they're a little racist, they're a little transphobic, they're homophobic, they're very heteronormative, and they're they're not the best. But even so, they're not the type to harm other people, which is why I'm still here, still happy with my family, I guess. I haven't told my mom. She is never gonna know. That I know for sure. You know why? Because she doesn't deserve to. And if you feel like they don't deserve to, then don't feel obligated to come out. Moving on to the next topic, which is the topic of this week, week 10, is bathrooms. There's a lot of things to discuss about bathrooms and a lot of the awkward things. A lot of us, especially us non-binary individuals who don't identify as a girl or as, well, just a girl or just a boy, because I understand that this is probably an issue for a lot of gender-fluid individuals too, or people whose gender fluctuates but also contains or includes the binary genders. The issue of which bathroom to go to is confusing. Like, you don't know which one. If you're anything like me, you don't know which one you want to go into. I wish I didn't have to go into either, but for me, the men's restroom is just not an option, because I'm not too worried to admit that I'm very scared of guys, especially cis men, and I do not want to think about what could happen to me if I were to use a guy's restroom and be found out. So for me, the decision has always been violence versus a little bit of discomfort, because when I use a woman's restroom, even like looking like this, I usually get a lot of people, not a lot anymore because I'm in college, but I would get people who looked at me strange, who would get suspicious. I've actually had some run out of the bathroom because they got scared, which I feel really bad about because I don't want to make anyone feel scared, but I can kind of get it. But I can't get in trouble for using that restroom. I can't be arrested just because my body part doesn't match. If I'm terrified if I go into the men's restroom that I will get called out, and there will be bad things that happen that I don't want to happen. So I'm not gonna let them happen. So I just use the women's restroom. But I will, if it's an option, I will always choose the gender neutral bathroom. But I think we all know how often that happens, which of course is not very often. Sometimes you will have it and it'll either be a gender neutral bathroom, which is great, or more often than not, you'll have a family restroom that is supposed to be meant for, families. And I don't like that much because their sign is usually gendered anyway. It has like a little, the boy stick figure that you got on the men's restroom and the little girl stick figure you get on the women's restroom. And I'm saying boy and girl kind of flimsily because one has a skirt and the other one doesn't, shouldn't gender, but the binary society, that's how it works. So I have an issue with that, not to mention they sometimes happen, especially in grocery stores, I think, but more often than not, they're just not there. Either that, or they're way out of the way, and it's really hard to find. It's really awkward to go to. This is especially so at college. I know where maybe two are, and they're really out of the way, and they're not as convenient as the gendered bathrooms that you have. Like, for every for every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like we have like 8 sets of gendered bathrooms, and then maybe 1 gender-neutral bathroom in a building with 3 floors. No, 4 floors. It has 4 floors, and we got like 1 gender-neutral bathroom, I think, in the 2nd floor, I think is where it is. And then you have at all these separate places, and they're not easy to get to. Like, I've actually wanted to draw a map just so I knew where they were because they were so hard to find. And I don't think people realize how difficult it is, especially since they're single stall restrooms. You can only go in one at a time, and it's already, especially if you're someone that gets a little anxious, like gets nervous really easily, having to knock in the hallway to the restroom or try the door to see if it's open when it's not inside, it's outside. You have to do that outside, and I don't know about anyone else, but I get really, really nervous when I have to do that. Like, if someone's in there, I end up running down the hall because I don't want to deal with it. Maybe that's me, maybe I'm just a dork, but can't handle it. So, the gender-neutral bathrooms thing is really troublesome in colleges, and it needs to be fixed. Also, it needs to be more so where gender-neutral bathrooms have more than 1 stalls, and they're actually next to all the other ones, because non-binary identities need to be recognized as just as legitimate and important as these 2 binary genders. There's some news actually going on about gender-neutral bathrooms that got me kind of excited. Like, nothing's really happening around my area, but I've read 3 different stories that I think are kind of recent. I at least know that the one for California is recent. The University of California passed this, I don't know, would you call it a bill? I guess it's a college bill or whatever. And what it is doing is it's adding more gender-neutral bathrooms next to the other ones to different places so that people of non-binary and trans identities have somewhere close and safe and comfortable to go to, which I think is amazing. But another great thing about their little bill that they're doing is they're also integrating preferred names into the school system. And you can't use your name for, like, if you're doing your transcripts or financial aid, but your preferred name will appear on so many other things. Like, it'll be on your class roster, it'll be on your class, like, your school ID, and, like, that's really amazing, because other schools, when they were posed with the same question, they were told, you can't do that, it's gonna be on the records, you gotta keep it like that. But no, it's University of California is showing just how easy it is to let preferred names be in the system. And I should probably save this for another thing, because I don't know if we're gonna do a video later about preferred names, but I'm just so excited to read that. Another school that's doing it, it's called Northwestern, and they're also adding a lot of new gender-neutral bathrooms to their thing, so that's more colleges going the gender-neutral inclusive restroom route. And then another thing that's really cool is in Philadelphia, apparently the mayor passed this legislation. I don't know how old it is, and I'm really hoping it's still in effect, but every new building, especially if it's city-owned, every new building is required to have a gender-neutral bathroom with their, with the other 2 restrooms, the binary restrooms. So you have a men's restroom, women's restroom, and then a non-binary restroom. And that is just amazing that this legislation is making it so that every building has one. And I don't know, I'm just so excited about it, because I'm so used to gender-neutral bathrooms just not being available, and that Philadelphia is doing this thing, like, statewide is like, whoa. No, it might not be statewide, because it did say that a mayor was the one that signed it, but still, it's exciting. I guess another thing that I wanted to talk about for gender-neutral bathrooms is, I'm not sure where I read it, but there's somewhere, and they're making it so that single-stall restrooms have to be marked for gender-neutral bathrooms, because it's really annoying, but there's a lot of places, and they have single-stall restrooms, but they still manage to put male, men's restroom, female restroom. Like, I actually work at a place, it's a frozen yogurt place, a very small store, and in the very back are 2 single stall restrooms, and they are literally exactly like each other, except for the paint on the walls are off by like a tint. Like one is a little more green and one is a little more pink. Anyway, the green one, as you can probably guess, is the men's restroom, and the pink one is the girls' restroom. I don't know why they did that, because you could just say that both are gender neutral because they're single stall restrooms. Like, I just don't understand. But anyway, I don't remember which place is doing it, but there is some place that is making it so that the single stall restrooms need to be marked as gender neutral. Other than that, I don't know any more development going on about gender neutral bathrooms. Bathrooms in general. If you wanted to go into another restroom, I personally don't like talking about it, because in order to go into a restroom and be safe, or at least as safe as you would be, you need to pass. And as a lot of us non-binary people know, we don't pass. And if you're anything like me, you don't want to pass. You just want to be you and go to the restroom and do your biz. And the thing is, a lot of people who are against doing that when you're a trans person, is an argument is brought up that abuse or sexual harassment will happen in the bathroom. And the thing is, we have a sponsor to our club at school. It's kind of a trans and non-binary club at school, which is really cool. You should see if your school has one, because honestly, I'm having a lot of fun in that club. Super fun. I'm making a lot of my friends there. Anyway, moving on. With the sponsor of the club, she went to a lecture about gender identities and the non-binary and trans umbrella. And at that lecture hall, they had a gender-neutral bathroom right in the middle of the two binary bathrooms. And so during the break, you had all these people going to the bathroom. Now, because the men's restroom and the woman's restroom were crowded, a lot of people would go into the middle and line up for the middle one. And because of everyone just going in, apparently the line went a lot quicker because people were just doing their biz. But they would go in and then they would go out, and you know what? Everyone was just really nice and respectable, and guess what they did? Guess what people were going to the bathroom to do? They were going to the bathroom to go to the bathroom. Like, this is an in-case point study, I'm not sure if that's the right word, but study, I'm just going to use it, of how a gender-neutral bathroom can work. And it totally pokes all these holes in these other people's arguments that harassment would happen. Because even when you had cis men with cis women and all these trans and non-binary people in one restroom, lo and behold, nothing happened. Now, I understand that there is concern to be had about harassment that happens in the restroom. I'm not trying to downplay that, but you have to understand that the harassment that happens isn't necessarily because of a trans or non-binary identity. It will happen because someone is a really horrible person. And you really need to stop holding people's identities against them as a sign of violence or what's mostly sexual violence and harassment. And that just needs to stop. I guess that was the other thing that I had about the bathrooms. Don't have really much else. I got pretty excited during this one because I'm really excited about gender-neutral bathrooms. I want more gender-neutral bathrooms with more stalls. Because binary just doesn't work. So the more you include the gender non-binary part of the gender spectrum, the happier I'll be. Kind of wish I had my dog here right now to finish up this video, but I don't. So I hope that you enjoy the other videos. I am so sorry that I'm late with this. I'm always late. I don't have time. But, you know, I hope you liked my background. This is my kitchen. It's probably, would you call it my kitchen? I'm babbling. Okay, well, it was lovely seeing you all. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the videos, and I hope you have an amazing week. I'm having a pretty good one. Well, Until next time, Lenn out.